Hi, I'm Wolfman Jeff. Today I'm going to be reviewing Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Who knew it could be so amply titled? Seriously though, I remember being excited to see Episode 1 as a kid. You know, I grew up and I actually watched the Star Wars trilogy when I was more of an early teenager. So I mean, when I watched it though, it really, I don't know, it really ignited a passion, and I love Star Wars. I watched it over and over and over again, and I know I annoyed my parents when I watched. I mean, I think I was kind of a normal kid in that respect, especially at that time. And what kind of got me back into what kind of got me into the Star Wars movies was Kenner re-released the action figures. I remember going into Walmart as a kid, and they had like they had Shadows in the Empire figures. And I remember I was like, "What is this?" And it was like Luke Skywalker and Chewbacca and stuff. So I found these figures interesting. I remember buying them and then watching the movies, and I just was hooked on them. So, you know, I was naturally really excited for Episode 1. The trailer for Episode 1 looked so promising. It was just epic looking. And, I mean, in that respect, it was probably one of the greatest trailers ever made. It got everybody really excited for the movies. Unfortunately, Episode 1 did not live up to the hype. I don't know if it could have, even if it was legitimately a great movie. But it was a mediocre movie. I would not say it was terrible, and it's really easy to dismiss the movie, partially because, you know, everybody was so passionate about it that it was sort of a letdown, so it's just easy for people to want to ignore it. It really wasn't a terrible movie. It was a decent movie that had some terrible parts. I will acknowledge that. Jar Jar Binks was a terrible character. That right off the bat hurt the movie. And later on, in the prequel trilogy, they dramatically reduced his role. I think because he was so hated by the fans, which was wise for Lucas. But some of the acting wasn't the best. Jake Lloyd as Anakin Skywalker really wasn't the world's best child actor, but I think he kind of gets a bad rap too, because while he wasn't phenomenal, you know, he was actually still a decent child actor. And compared to Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker, Jake Lloyd was freaking fantastic. But Star Wars Episode 1, like I said, gets a lot of bad raps. And there are definitely things, even aside from some of the characters. It was probably too big in scope. You know, there was too many characters. Star Wars had a lot of characters, but they were still kind of contained in the adventure. At least in the first Star Wars movies, when you're getting to know the characters, they're all kind of like Lord of the Rings. They're all in a fellowship, so they're all kind of joined and together. You know, Episode 1 has characters on Naboo, Tatooine, all these other planets, so, you know, it's hard to keep up with everyone. So I think trying to make something on a bigger scale was one of its first problems. I also think that, while it actually did have a lot of great action scenes, it also had some snoozer scenes. The whole Senate should have, even if they were going to show it, it should have been greatly edited. People watch the Star Wars movies for the adventure, the fantasy. They don't go watch it to see what the political allegiance of certain worlds are. So I think Lucas, maybe he found politics more interesting as he got older, which I don't blame him. But I think it still didn't have a place in the Star Wars movies. So I think that was a major flaw. I think that was actually perhaps a bigger flaw than even Jar Jar Binks, though it's really easy to hate on him. But, episode 1 did have some good things. Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi was actually, a very good casting choice. Liam Neeson's Qui-Gon Jinn, again, very good casting choice. It had some great action scenes. The CGI was overdone, but at least I'll give him credit for being ambitious, and it looked nice. It was aesthetically pleasing, even if it was overdone and it didn't fit well with the classic trilogy. I mean, I get what he was doing, so I can't fault him for the production design. But so Star Wars Episode 1, ultimately my rating would be C if you like Star Wars. It's a movie that if you don't like sci-fi or Star Wars, pass on. It's not a must-see, but it's not as horrible as some of the Star Wars fans would lead you to believe, but it's definitely not a great movie. Alright, I'm Wolfman Jeff. Thanks very much for listening to these reviews. You mean a lot to me. I love you guys. You know that. Take care. See ya.